Tonight's species are known for skyrocketing baits. They are long, sleek silver and can be easily caught on artificial lures. They also make great smoked fish dip. So, whether they are 40 pounds or 4 pounds, the mackerel is a very popular species to catch here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and today not only do we have Captain Rick Murphy back in the house with us, but also an awesome live studio audience. And I don't know about you guys and gals, but I'm ready to talk some fishing. But Rick, first you have to tell us where you all went. What the heck you were doing?
So, Brie, 20 of us, most of the guys from Texas, Mike Prosick from Prosick Smoked Meats, he invited me to go on a dove hunt down in Bolivia. And man, we had the best time. We stayed in a 5-star lodge. And we shot doves and we drank rum and we just had the best time.
Boys time.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
Good. Well, we missed you, but I know someone at the CCA workbench who missed you very much, even more than I did. Dave Farrell.
Yeah,
I
missed the fun time he was having.
Yeah, that's about it.
I didn't miss him that much.
I didn't want to get that detailed, but yeah, he missed something, all right.
Yeah, it was fun. I imagine.
Fun. What are we talking about today, Dave?
We're talking about kingfish, which
Sweet.
are a lot of fun. And they're a lot of fun to catch and to eat, especially. I like to eat
Toothy
them
critters.
as well. Yeah.
I can tell
Most people don't eat them, but I like to eat them.
I can tell
Smoke
me
'em.
being out really hurt Dave. Look, there's no energy there at the workbench.
Pain.
It did.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
pained. He's pained. All right, to start off this King and Spanny Mac Fest is none other than Jeff Page in the Startron Central West region. So, Jeff, talk to us.
All right. Well, it's good to have everybody back in the house. Tommy D did a great job filling in. And in the Startron Central West region, we have a bountiful supply of king mackerel and Spanish mackerel. And it's pretty much a year-round fishery. But just like everybody, in the spring and in the fall, we have big pushes of migratory fish that work their way this time of year in the fall from the north, heading south down your way, Rick. And they'll easily be found anywhere from a half mile off the beach to 9, 10, even 11 miles out. And it's all about bait spools holding over hard bottom and structure on the bottom. And the bait spools can be menhadens, they can be threadfin herring, or they can even be the small red hatch minnows, which get real tight in balls. Whatever the bait is, they're going to find it, and they're going to key in on it. And once you find it, you can start trolling lips plugs like the X-Rap 8 and 10s for the king mackerel, for the Spanish mackerel, or you can bump up to the X-Rap 20s or 30s for the big kings. Now, it's suggested, especially with the kings, to use at least a piece of wire in front of your plug or your spoon. And then if you want to use live bait, a lot of the guys will rig up live blue runners or big live cigar minnows, and they'll put a stinger rig behind that, which comes on off a piece of wire off the main hook. And it's a little treble hook, which will a lot of times hook that kingfish, especially in tournaments. And those guys have told me stories about loose drag and letting them run. And it's really hectic when you're trying to get that 40, 50 pounder in the boat, because it's usually a big paycheck in my region. Another way to catch them, long shank 2 and 3/0 hooks with small pilchards or thread fins on them. And then you can avoid using a piece of wire due to the long shank. I like the number 2/0 or 3/0 gold eagle claw long shank, and that eliminates the use of a piece of wire. You're still going to get cut off every now and then, but not very often. Like I said, it's a year-round fishery, but we've got a big fall run of fish coming right now as we speak, and I've got 2 kingfish photos tonight. First one of a happy client of Captain Mike Gore out of Tampa, and then I've got the second picture of a happy client of Captain Billy Miller out of St. Pete, both with nice kingfish caught right off the beach here in my region. Staying offshore, red grouper. Captain Tim Noe of the Flying Fish Fleet says that red grouper bite has been his mainstay. He's been able to get out there in 90, 110 feet of water and get his limit for his clients, no problem, using frozen sardines and mixing in some live pinfish and squirrelfish along with that. And he says lately he's been getting, of course you have to release them, but some American red snapper, some nice gags, and even some nice mangs in the mix to to fill the box as well. And I've got a red grouper photo tonight of another successful trip, I think just 2 days ago, with a nice limit of red groupers caught aboard the Flying Fish.
All right, Paige, let's go inshore, bub.
Inshore, you know what time it is now. Redfish are schooling up and starting to spread out throughout the entire region. I'm getting good reports of fish down south. Our friend Captain Danny Latham said he's been finding them around Usepa Island and also off the east side of the harbor from Burnt Store south to Two Pines. And he's just looking for the fish raised up. You're going to see the color in the water. We've had a lot less rain lately, so the water's starting to get a lot cleaner. And as long as the winds aren't white capping, you're going to see these fish raised up. It's a good idea to keep a 1/4-ounce spoon rigged on a couple rods, ready to throw. And then if you can get them to settle down, you throw a live pinfish in the middle of that, you're going to get bit. Up my way, Rattlesnake Key, there's been groups off Emerson Point and also around the mouth of the Manatee River. And, you know, the winds are going to pick up again this weekend. You did call it the other day. I didn't believe you. It's a cold front, but I don't think it's going to get cold. But you're still going to have good, clear skies, so you're going to see these fish. And I've got a really cool photo tonight. It's a four-way photo that was taken by a good friend of mine, Captain Gino Maxwell, and that's a photo of Mike and his father-in-law with a stellar day they had red fishing with Captain Gino out of St. Pete around the Fort DeSoto area. And my last species tonight is Spanish mackerel inshore. We were just talking about them offshore, but there's lots of Spanish mackerel this time of year that come in with the bait schools around the Skyway Piers, on the deeper grass flats off Emerson, Rattlesnake Key, all those grass flats off Pinellas Point, and then also up in North Sarasota Bay, which is recovering very well, around the deeper grass flats off Whale Key and Longbark. You're going to find the birds, you're going to find the bait schools, you're going to find the mackerel, bluefish, speckled trout. It's just a variety of fish. It's a good idea. You can put a saltwater assassin, violet moon, or just a plain white sea shad on a 3/8-ounce silver jigget, or again, that 1/4-ounce weedless gold spoon is going to get the job done. And my last photo tonight is of a cute little lady angler with a Spanny Mac he caught with Captain Billy Miller.
All right, thank you so much, Paige. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Daiquiri Deck hotspots from the Central West region. He says inshore redfish, the schools of overslot reds moving up on the flats around Placida Harbor. On the higher stages of the tide, try a 1/4-ounce gold spoon or a live pinfish is your best bet. And then offshore, amberjack, lots of AJs holding on the wrecks and the springs in 75 to 100 feet of water off of Venice. Use live pinfish or maybe a blue runner, Brie.
All right, Captain Tommy Derringer is back reporting from his remote studio in the Strike Zone Northeast region and has a lot to talk about for the weekend. So go for it, Tommy.
That's right, Brie. Man, it feels so remote. I had such a good time down there last week. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you know what, guys? The Strike Zone Northeast region, we love our kingfishing. And you know what? It's been a pretty great summer this year. The kingfish are one of the most popular fish to target here in the region during the warmer months. And you can find them along the reefs and wrecks offshore and right along the beach pretty much all summer long. In fact, you can even catch some really big kingfish off the local piers when the conditions are right. For most of the summer, there are quite a few kingfish in that 10 to 20 pound range on the live bottom reefs near shore throughout the region from about 60 to 80 feet. Now look for structure that's holding the bait, and that's usually where you're going to find the fish, although sometimes you might just want to troll over the structure. So kingfish might still be hanging out. Now historically, leading up to a full moon is when some of those really big fish show up right on the beach. When that's going on, you go and want to troll the beach anywhere from about 30 to 50 feet deep. You want to keep an eye out for those pogey pods. Most anglers are going to troll a live pogey or maybe even a ribbon fish, whether you're on the beach or you're offshore. Now, the typical kingfish rig is going to be a wire leader stinger rig with 2 treble hooks and maybe even a little Boone Mylar duster to sweeten it up a bit. I'll tell you guys, if you're looking to get into kingfishing, you definitely want to get up to Strike Zone. Dave and his crew, they've got that stuff seriously dialed in. And you know what? They have a website called kingfishzone.com. That's completely dedicated to kingfishing. They've got every piece of equipment you could ever need for kingfishing, so definitely check that out. And I've got a picture here. This is Captain Jimmy Laidler from thelegendfishing.com and his clients with a big late-season kingfish they caught east of St. Augustine. Now, staying offshore, The ocean, it's been pretty darn angry and stirred up since Hurricane Dorian. But I spoke to Captain Billy Hunsicker from EndlessSummerCharters.com. He tells me the bottom fishing for grouper has been pretty good. Now, Billy said a lot of times those big grouper, they're going to move out of those smaller holes during the heavy storms and move on over to some of the bigger structures, make it easier to get to them. Now, he's been getting a good variety of different types of grouper in the 150 to 200-foot depths east of St. Augustine. Big live pinfish and or whole frozen Boston mackerel. Those are two of his absolute favorite baits for those grouper. Billy said it should only get better as the temperatures start to cool down heading into the fall. And I've got another picture. This is Captain Billy's son, Benjamin Hunsicker, with a nice snowy grouper that he caught with his dad aboard the Endless Summer.
All right, let's go inshore, bub. Yeah, go ahead.
The flounder, man, the mullet run, it's in full swing, and those bigger flounder have really started to show up in and around the inlet from right about this time of year through about mid-November. That's when my clients and I catch some of those really, really big doormat flounders, sometimes up to even 10 pounds. Now, just about any kind of structure near the inlet can and will hold flounder this time of year. They especially like the jetty rocks and the nearby docks, although you can't overlook the creeks on those lower tide stages. If you see a small run out in one of those bigger creeks and there's bait holding in the mouth of it, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a flounder or two hanging out underneath there as well. Now, no matter where you fish for them, the bait and rigging is just about the same. Use a big finger mullet on either a fish finder rig or a jig head with enough weight to hold the bottom. Now, the flounder, they're running about 1 to 3 pounds right now with some really good bigger ones mixed in. And speaking of those big ones, I've got another picture. Captain Rob Bennett from coastalfish.net sent me this picture of Michael Tillman and his doormat flounder he caught this week in St. Augustine. And then lastly, I've got to talk about redfish again this week. They just will not stop chewing here throughout the region. The redfish, they're stacked in the same areas as those flounder, but especially around the St. Mary's, St. Augustine, and Matanzas Inlet. The tide stage hasn't really mattered much, but the outgoing tide definitely seems to be a little better. Again, a live mullet with enough weight to hold the bottom has been the ticket. Now, there's also some big oversized reds mixed in as well, especially around some of the deeper structures like the jetty rocks and the bridges. Look for that deeper water bite to be really good over the next several weeks as we head into fall, as those mullet are only going to get thicker and those redfish are only going to get more and more schooled up.
All right, Tommy, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots from the Northeast region. He says inshore, redfish, flounder, and tarpon in and around all the area inlets. Fish live mullet on the outgoing tide around the structure, and then offshore, a mixed bag of snappers and groupers in 120 to 200-foot depths east of St. Augustine. Use dead, stinky baits as the water still is murky.
Don't forget the stinky.
Nope.
Emphasize the stink. All right, coming right up here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're getting rigged up for the Fish Bites East region, and to find out what rigs we should be using, well, that kind of falls on Dave at the CCA Workbench for Academy Sports Rigs and Techniques. Do something.
Well, we're going to catch some kingfish, and then I'm going to tell you my favorite kingfish recipe for smoking kingfish.
Ooh, that's going to be special. He's a good cook. Yep, we'll be back, guys.
Plethora of knowledge.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Sirius XM Marine, weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Well, we're here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques at the CCA workbench, and one of my favorite cartoon characters is Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, I don't look like Mr. Magoo.
And Dave, since you brought in those glasses.
Yeah, that's not me.
But you don't realize the fondness that I have for Magoo.
I got you.
Now you're my living Magoo.
Yeah, okay.
You're
Thank
my
you.
man.
All right, that's nice.
That's cool. No, man, now I got a picture that I can worship on my desk at home.
Well,
knowing that I have.
Hope that's all you do to my
look
picture.
Forward.
All right, we're gonna talk about kingfish because we can all catch kingfish, and they're fun to catch. They're close to shore generally. They're one of the first offshore fish that most guys catch. Usually it's a dolphin and a kingfish on the same trip. You know, when you go out and try to catch these things. Kingfish are called king mackerel. They're a member of the mackerel family, and they have incredibly sharp teeth. So we need to use wire when we're fishing for mackerels. I use wire. I fish out of Cape Canaveral because I live in Orlando. So I'm usually fishing with all wire anyway because we have a lot of kings, we have a lot of barracudas, and we have a lot of wahoos. And if I don't have wire out, I'm going to lose a lot of stuff during the day. So I use probably number 5 wire is the lightest I will go when I'm fishing for kings, and I go up to number 10 wire, especially if I'm in a place where I think I can catch kingfish and wahoo at the same time. That's a regular ballyhoo rig right there. That's the same ones I pull. It's a little number 7 a long shank hook. I usually use a longer shank hook on some of my kingfish stuff. I'll use a needle eye as well, but that's just a regular kingfish rig, a regular wire rig that you can use for any ballyhoo. And we like to, put little stuff up on them, Well, this actually is one that I'll use for just a plain naked. Whenever I'm trolling for kingfish, I always have at least one naked ballyhoo on the surface swimming out there because we all have a lot of stuff down, and sometimes they're not eating that stuff when it's down. Sometimes I get all my bites on the surface baits when I'm fishing for kingfish. So I always have at least one out there, and that one naked ballyhoo probably accounts for half the bites I get during the day. Even with all this beautiful stuff I've got out, the sea witches I really like.
The reason you're giggling is because you know that I'm focusing on the naked part.
I know.
Yeah.
These are, these are sea witches, and they come in, little 1/4 ounce all the way up to 2 ounces. And you put those in front of a ballyhoo on those same wire rigs, and everything eats them. Dolphin eat them, but kingfish really like to eat them as well. And I like dark colors. I've caught them on dark, black, purple, red, but I've caught them on pink and white as well. Kingfish don't seem to be very particular about what color it is. We like to troll between 4 and 7 knots. You don't have to go real fast to catch a kingfish, but you don't have to go real slow either. You can troll the same speed that you want to troll for dolphin. I'm always fishing for those 3 species at the same time: dolphin, wahoo, and kingfish. So I'm not, I don't speed up to go 14 knots to catch wahoos because I can catch them at 7 knots, and I do the same, because I can catch kings at the same speed. So I try to, go a speed where I can catch everything.
Yeah, you don't discriminate.
Exactly.
I like
and the kingfish loves all those speeds except for the really, really fast ones.
I know Jimbo's favorite for kingfish.
Commercial guys will use a big giant spoon or a big white bucktail jig. They've never stopped eating the spoon. A lot of guys have stopped pulling the spoon just because we've got all this other really cool stuff, but they've never stopped eating a big silver spoon or even a gold, whatever spoon you want. This is one of I tell you what, these Halcos, these speed up where I live in the Cape, are making a huge impact. My buddy Dan Jacobs catches everything on those lures. He cannot go fishing without bringing his Halcos now. They can go really fast, and they can go fairly deep. The big one there will go 18 to 20 feet deep, and you can troll that thing really fast. I mean, 8-10 knots going that deep, and it doesn't get. They have a really cool little tuning thing in them so that they go really straight. Sea Star on the short is one of my favorite lures. You know, it's an island lure. I love that little lure on the short. I'll get a lot of kingfish and wahoo bites come right up into the prop. You know, prop wash to eat that thing. So that's another good one. Also, before you go, here's some stinger rigs. You know, you heard those guys mention them. These are like little number 3 treble hooks on some number 5 or number 4 wire. You just put that little section of wire to your underbelly on your hook, and that swings back there by the tail. And if he comes up to try to snatch your tail away, he gets a mouthful of treble hook.
I like it. What do you think, Brie?
I like it too.
Boom, boom.
I like it too. Wealth of knowledge over there. All right, well, guys, we all know our friends to the east of us are near and dear to many throughout this state. And with Hurricane Dorian leaving absolute devastation in the Bahamas, we are proud to promote Anglers for the Bahamas United for Relief effort, which has already raised $4 million and an additional $1 million personally from Bass Pro Shops founder Johnny Morris. More than 81,000 anglers donated in the first 4 days alone, and with 100% of the donations directly benefiting Bahamians throughout Convoy of Hope, every dollar makes a difference. If you would like to find out more about the relief effort and to make a donation, please visit anglersforthebahamas.org. Okay, now it's time to head on into the Fish Bites East region, where the Kings and Spanish are locked in on the mullet run, which is great news for us, right, Captain Holiday?
It is. You know, the key to mackerel fishing in September is pretty much finding the mullet. The Kings come close to the beach to chase the big mullet. They do that in places like the Vero Cove, the Disney area, South Beach and Fort Pierce, and the Kingfish Hole off Hope Sound. And then at the same time, the Spanish mackerel, they're already in tight on the beach. They're dogging the outside edges of those finger mullet schools that are in tight on shore. The best fishing for the Kings by far is on the days when the wind is out of the west or the southwest, or the moon is going down right at dawn. That's when the Kings like to charge the beach. Mullet are plentiful, so you just grab your Clues cast net, load up on bait. Those species are kind of a slashing predator, so you want either a small piece of number 4 wire or a triple hook kingfish rig or a long shank hook just to keep them from cutting you off. Put one bait in the prop wash, tight to the boat, then stagger the rest of the baits out and trolling a zigzag pattern. Fish seem to bite in the middle of a turn more so than they bite just a straight moving bait. You can also just free line and drift baits out behind the boat. Average king in my region is going to be 12 to 20 pounds, but you'll find them up to 40 pounds during the mullet run. Average Spanish mackerel is going to be more like 1 to 3 pounds, but there are some big ones. I got a photo of a good one. Bob Perret, he caught that big Spanish mackerel. He was fishing the edge of the reef off Hope Sound, and he caught that on just a regular bait fish plot. Now, the other thing going on, right around mid-September, we start seeing a shift in the prevailing winds from the southeast summer winds to more of a northeast wind, which we see in the winter. And that northeast wind brings a lot of dolphin to the area that are moving south ahead of the cooling water temperatures that are above us. A lot of the fish are schoolies, often with small birds working them, but there's also 20, 30 pounders in the mix. And this is a time of the year when the fish run the color changes, rips and eddies more so than they look for floating debris. So you just want to cover a lot of water to find fish. The mullet are plentiful. They're a great dolphin bait. One of the things I like to do, I'll just throw on my net on finger mullet and overload all my live wells with finger mullet, then run out to a color change. Just open the wells and let the bait jump out. Hook a bigger bait on, like a 5 or 6 inch mullet, and just slow troll or drift along with your bait. Often you'll see like a fish blow up on one of your chum baits, and they work your way right to the back of the boat. A lot of those fish are schoolies. You want to have spinning rods ready with a few pitch baits that you can throw out to the fish. So dolphin bite should be good for the next probably 3 weeks.
All right, let's go inshore, Hollywood.
Well, rough seas have kind of been bad for the anglers, but good for the local tarpon populations. A lot of those fish are lurking on the beach on the north side of all the inlets in my region. They're having a field day on the mullet schools at dawn and dusk as they pin them up against the jetties. Only a handful of fishermen are able to get to them, mostly the guys that are jetty fishermen, until those seas calm down. But when it does, places like Bathtub Beach, North Beach in Fort Pierce, Vero Cove, the north side of Palm Beach Inlet, They're going to hold tarpon of all sizes. And it's kind of interesting in the fall. Some days there'll be a lot of small fish in that 15 to 30 pound range. And then at the same time, after dark, the tarpon are around the inlets, and on the outgoing tides, you're blasting mullet that are coming out of the inlet. You want to target the fish with a live mullet, either drifted or you put it out behind your boat and turn your trolling motor up a little bit until you get them just up there cutting a wake on the surface. You want to have a variety of sizes of bait because it seems like the small fish, like a 6-inch mullet, the big fish like a 10 or 12-inch mullet. There'll be some black tip sharks in the mix too. But if you put your time in, you'll get plenty of bites around the inlets right now. The average tarpon's going to be like 15 to 80 pounds. The other thing, the snook fishing only gets better from now through October as the mullet run ramps up. There's schools of finger mullet on just about every shoreline right now. There's still a lot of male fish around the inlets. Some larger fish are mixed in there, but the bridges that are close to the inlet, like the Blue Heron Bridge, the A1A Bridge in Jupiter, the Stewart Causeway, North and South Bridges in Fort Pierce, anything within like a mile of the inlet, they're holding a lot of big fish right now, particularly at night. This is a great time of year. Beat the heat, fish after dark, throw a live mullet or a mullet-shaped pugs on those shadow lines or around the dock lights that are near the inlet. You do really well. If you like to fish artificial and the night ride on the bridges is your deal, you can fish topwater plugs. You just throw it out and reel the plug along the surface, giving it no action. Just let it cut a wake, reel it nice and slow. Or you can fish a saltwater assassin Alabama rig, put like 5-inch sea shads on that in the mullet color, fishing with 50-pound braid. The bite is incredible. It's all you can do to keep the rod from getting yanked out of your hand. Average bridge snook right now is anywhere from 18 to 28 pounds. I got a photo there. Ray Jimenez, he sight cast that big snook in the surf off Hope Sound. That was before we had these big storms that kind of roughed it up. But as soon as it calms down, those big fish will be out there again.
All right, real quick on the bass, bub.
Well, water levels are super high in Kissimmee Toho chain. That's got the fish moved up to the Kissimmee grass and along the submerged hydrilla close to shore. A lot of that fish are in that 3 to 4 inch water depth around the shell beds. Start your day throwing a Bass Assassin Logger Toad or an Elite Shiner, just running across the top of the grass around Goblets Cove, wherever you find clean water in Kissimmee grass. They're seeing a lot of big fish right now, so we should see a real good spawn, an early spawn on the full moon. By 8 a.m., time to go to a green pumpkin-colored tap-out, a trick worm rig Senko style, working on the shell beds around the edges of the submerged hydrilla. It's a 20-fish morning, a lot of 3 to 5 pounders, and fish to 11 pounds right now on Toho and Kissimmee. I got a photo. Jessica McGee from Seattle, Washington. She got that big bass on Lake Okeechobee. She got to eat a live shiner early in the day fishing with Captain Nate Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com.
All right, thanks so much, Hollywood. We're going to take a look at TH Marine hotspots from the East region. He says inshore, snook blasting the mullet schools at Mosquito Bridge on the Jensen Beach Causeway use live finger mullet topwater plugs and swimming plugs. And then offshore, schools of dolphin and kingfish in 110 to 140 feet of water just south of Fort Pierce Inlet use live mullet slow trolled or drift and fish a kite.
That snook bite sounds fun. Okay, everyone, although the CCA Star Tournament is over, that doesn't mean winning has to stop, right, Rick?
That's
you
right.
can still win a $1,000 prize package for recapturing a past year's tagged redfish, but you must be registered for the 2020 Star Competition and a CCA member. The Star Awards are also coming up on October 19th at the Melbourne Auditorium, where you can join some of our Fiffer captains for some live entertainment, dinner, open bar, raffle, and auctions. Purchase your tickets at ccafloridastar.com. Okay, kings and queens, if you're dropping some lines in the Bells Southwest and Costa Vieja Southeast regions this weekend, look no further because we're coming to you next, only on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. You missed it.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Kubota, find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and there's no place I'd rather be. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and time don't matter to me, 'cause I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere.
We know that Helmmaster came out a few years ago, but since the invention of the new 425s, Helmmaster has really become something that really makes a lot of sense on a multi-engine boat. The reason why is because the 425s have fly-by-wire steering. The steering is integrated into the motors themselves, and what this allows you to do is have all the features of set point, which Helmmaster now has taken it to the fishing levels. So the first one that I want to talk about is certainly fish point. Fish point is something that we're using in regards to having the boat set up, whether it's bow into the current or bow into the wind, or we have the choice of turning the boat around and putting the stern into the wind or into the current. Most of the time, this decision is considered based on exactly how you want your lines to be affected in the fishing situation. So if you're pulling up to a buoy, you might want to use fish point because you want to fish off of the bow of the boat. The other thing that works real well is if you're fishing over a wreck, you can simply put stern into the current and wind, and what it does is now it keeps the lines from going into the back area of the boat where you potentially could be in harm's way of the propellers as they're keeping the boat in the most perfect position. The other thing that Helmmaster offers is drift point. What I love about drift point is it allows me to fish along the edge of a rip, or it allows me, whenever I'm kite fishing, to take the bow and put it into a position that makes the boat drift based on a compass heading. This is really a proven formula because now we can actually maybe set the boat facing true north, but have a drift where we go from southwest to northeast along the edge of a rip, fishing in an area where it's going to be a lot more productive. The third feature is stay point. And what stay point simply does is it allows you to stop your boat and hold it into a position while you're waiting for a bridge to open, or possibly wait for a dock to open up before you put your boat on the trailer. I don't need a crew of people to help me dock my boat because stay point gives me the independence to have the boat ready when my position at the dock opens up. Now, for you guys that have Helmmaster, we have the ability now to have an upgrade kit. That upgrade kit can be installed, and you can find out more information about it by simply going to YamahaOutboards.com/Helmmaster. You know, to make a big boat go sideways, Brie? One word: cool. There you go.
That's a good word.
Yeah,
cool.
You got it.
Cool, very descriptive. The Bell's Southwest region is looking pretty strong for your weekend on the water. And we have Captain Ronnie Houston on the line, who's always a wealth of knowledge. Enlighten us, Ronnie. Be cool.
Well, you know, the theme species is king mackerel, but we also have the Spanish mackerel. And the Spanish mackerel can be caught both on the inshore and offshore side on the flats, the beaches, the nearshore wrecks, the headpins, and schools of bait. They're mostly found in schools, and the best baits are going to be gotcha lures, silver spoons, white bucktails, and live pilchards. Late spring and winter are good times of year, but the king mackerel can be caught traveling with the Spanish mackerel schools anywhere from the beach line out, but hard bottom areas and wrecks will also hold these fish. Methods to catch them would be trolling silver spoons or lip plugs in black and purple or blue and black. But when fishing wrecks, live blue runners and thread fins are very popular baits. And even when you get around the Spanish mackerel schools, large silver spoons, blue runners, and thread fins will catch that loner fish below or traveling on the outskirts of the school. Always when fishing for Spanish mackerel and king mackerels, most important, always have a trace of wire and have a prime example of a nice fish that was caught to the north while fishing with Captain Corey McGuire. Still on the offshore side, you got the mangroves and the lane snappers. That bite's still been consistent from Fort Myers Beach to Boca Grande, fishing wrecks and ledges. Right now the depths are 55 to 75 feet of water, with still plenty of fish in the 3 to 5 pound range by simply anchoring up and chumming, whether it's blocks chum, glass minnows, cut up pilchards, just enough to get the fish going, and then dropping back small cut squid, herring, shrimp. You can either flatline or just enough weight to get where these fish are on the water column. Once things slow down, the bite slows down, repeat the process of chumming and either flatline or drop back with a small weight. Now on the inshore side, the redfish. Captain Corey McGuire to the north part of the region reports plenty of schools of redfish right now in Pine Island Sound, the East Wall from Mount Lachey to Alligator Creek. But he's telling me most of these fish right now are 16 to 25 inches. And he's telling me on the higher stages of the tide along the mangroves, simply using cut ladyfish or tailhook pinfish. But to the south, plenty of 18 to 25 fish school are schooled up. Knocker rigs rigging ladyfish, pilchard, shrimp, and quarter-ounce bucktails tipped with ladyfish and shrimp are the go-to down south on the outer Gulf Islands. And I got a couple nice pictures of an oversized redfish caught to the south and a nice redfish caught with Captain Corey McGuire. Last species is going to be the snooks. Captain Corey McGuire says right now from Sanibel to Boca Grande, still some fish along the beaches and passes, but majority of the fish are starting to move back into the bays. And he's telling me these fish are concentrating on the deeper points with moving water. He says live pilchards and pinfish are still working well, but down in the southern part of the region right now, from Rabbit Key to Lost Mills River, plenty of snook right now, 18 to 25 inches. Snook on the outer Gulf points with some slot fish mixed in with them smaller fish. Mid-tides with moving water seem to be the best, using live pilchards, Rapala skitterwalks, bass assassin 5-inch didappers in Houdini. White quarter-ounce bucktails also still been working, but the most important part is you need to have that moving water. And I got a couple pictures of some nice snook with a caught, and a real special picture after the passing of Captain Ray Culver down here on the southern end of the region. We had a service for him over the weekend. While his son and daughter spread his ashes, 3 minutes later, they caught a nice life-size snook.
Awesome. Cool. All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to take a look at the Caddy Can Southwest hotspots. Inshore, juvenile tarpon, Buttonwood Bay to Barren River, fishing freshwater runoffs from creeks to middle bays using flies, topwater plugs, prop baits, and chugging lures. And then offshore, red groupers, Naples to Fort Myers Beach, fishing hard bottom in 80 to 110 feet. Anchoring up or drifting using cut baits or bucktails. Brie is going to catch them.
All right, well, let's jump on over to the other side of the coast and see what Captain Jimbo Thomas is catching in the Casa Vieja Southeast region on the Thomas Flyer. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Brie, Rick, and Dave, and everybody in the studio there. Well, you know, we talked plenty about kingfish throughout the season, so I'm just going to stick with mackerel here. Now, here in the Southeast region, we start to see Spanish mackerel around the end of October. The best mackerel fishing is usually out in front of any of the inlets, especially when we start seeing the shrimp run. Those mackerel will school up out front to eat all those shrimp coming out. And also those mackerel will occasionally venture into Biscayne Bay. Now, favorite baits are small live pilchards, small sardines, live shrimp, or jigs tipped with shrimp, also silver or small gold spoons. Now, light spin or cast tackle is preferred for the mackerel that are usually in the 1 to 5 pound range. That's the Spanish mackerel. And then Cero mackerel, they're also common, and they're usually out on the reef, and they're especially in areas that are holding schools of ballyhoo. Now, whether you fish for Cero or Spanish, you want to use some wire leader because they do have very sharp teeth. I like to use a small piece of number 3 wire leader, tie it onto your jig or your spoon or to your hook that you're fishing your live bait on, so that'll prevent any cutoffs. Now, the way to tell the difference between Spanish and Cirro mackerel is that the Spanish have yellow dots and those Cirros have yellow dashes. And the Cirros are generally a little bit bigger than the Spanish mackerel, and also those Cirros tend to stay out on the reef more so, and they average in the 3 to 10 pound range. Now, staying offshore, we're still finding dolphin offshore, and the size on average has gotten quite a bit better. Now, we're still finding some schools of small fish, but the bulk of them have been in the 5 to 10 pound range with some larger fish mixed in. And just like in the past few weeks, the fish have been offshore anywhere from 4 to 15 miles around sargassum weed, floating debris, and under birds, but mostly it's been under floating debris. Now, the few of the fish are being caught on the troll with rigged ballyhoo and small lures. Once you locate a school, they're being caught on live pilchards, small blue runners, and cut bonita and ballyhoo. And there's been plenty of bait out there under any of those weeds or floaters, so keep your sabiki rod ready to restock that live well. Also, if you don't see any dolphin there at first, while you're sitting there catching these small blue runners or bait, if there's any dolphin around, that will attract them. So just be ready if you're catching bait because they might just show up, and that might make your day there. And those small blue runners are exactly what they're eating. Now, I got a photo here, and last week we were talking about wahoos. I went out last Friday. We caught this 50-pound wahoo on the troll right off Key Biscayne.
You know, Brie, I didn't get that call for wahoo sushi. I didn't get that. I just want to say publicly, I didn't get that call.
We all know who our friends are.
Well, I'll let you know it was really, really good.
Thanks, Jimbo.
What else you got for us, Jimbo? Let's go inshore.
So moving inshore, snook fishing remains good in the inlets and in the surf off all the beaches. In the inlets, you want to fish with live mullet, herrings, pilchards, pinfish, croakers, or bounce jigs or soft plastics along the bottoms. Best fishing is going to be in the evenings. And those snook have been biting on both tides, but the outgoing tide seems to be a little better, mainly because the water's not as clear. Now, the fish are also off the beaches, and they're following schools of mullet. We got our mullet run started a little bit early, and those mullet are coming down the coast. You got snook following them, and they're being caught from both the shore and by boat. And if you're shorebound, try walking the beach early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Cast live baits or green and white Bass Assassin 4-inch jerk baits, white bucktails, and Rapala shad wraps. Cast right into the trough just off the beach. And if you see those fish working the mullet, that's, of course, where you want to fish. Now, if the seas are calm and the water's clear, you can also sight fish those snook, and they're cruising up and down in the surf down this trough. And the smaller fish seem to be roaming in schools. The larger ones have been in singles or pairs. Now, coming off the full moon that we had last week, the permit fish has been very good in Biscayne Bay. The weather the last few days has been perfect for permit fishing. We've had calm seas, clear water, and good visibility. But unfortunately, I think that's going to change. I just saw the weather forecast, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the permit fishing has been good around the Ragged Keys. Fish have been in the 7 to 10 pound range, and then in the Caesars Creek, the Angel Fish Creek area, those fish have been a little bit bigger in the 10 to 15 pound range. You want to look for clear water, good moving current. Look for flats that have coral and hard bottom flats with the good tidal flow, and you want to fish with silver dollar size crabs or crab pattern flies. Now, I got another photo here, and this isn't a Biscayne Bay permit, but this is what they look like, and this is one that Jane caught the other day while we were fishing with you, Capt, Rick, over in Flamingo.
It was Rick's first.
Yeah, man, we fooled him, didn't we? I don't know what that guy was doing there. I know why Jane was there, because she wanted to go with somebody who could catch her a lot of fish. That's what I'm saying. I'm all right, Jimbo. Thanks so much. I'm hanging up on you now. I'm going to read the R&R Tackle Hotspots. He says, inshore, look for the snook and the tarpon in all the inlets and off of the beaches in the evening and early morning where they are eating live and artificial baits. Then offshore, cast live and cut baits to dolphin offshore under the birds, around the weed lines, and any floating debris.
And you wonder why you don't get invited to Wahoo dinner dinner.
I know, maybe it's my
Not
mouth
a
gets in the
secret.
way of that
It does.
too.
It always does. Okay, we're seeing what is lurking beneath in the Bell's Central East region, but I was lurking around the CCA workbench earlier, checking out some of the lurk-worthy new products.
She's a lurker.
Dave has for us.
Wow.
Yes, I am.
Look
Wow.
at Dave.
It gives a whole new meaning to the word get bent.
Get bent. I love it.
Look at that.
Yes, it does.
No,
We're coming
boy,
back with
oh
that.
boy, oh boy.
Lurk-worthy
I like that
right
thing.
there.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all, for less. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. Okuma, Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
How do you aim a 36-yard shot with a 30-yard fixed pin at a 15-degree angle with a 7-inch holdover without moving a single pin? Easy. You get one of these. Zero, the auto-ranging digital bow sight from Garmin.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and Dave, new products is where you do your business over here.
I do some of my
you've got
business
some
here.
cool stuff tonight.
We're going to start right there with the caddy cans. These were designed to be a place to put your trash on a boat, but they turned out to be totally that and beyond. I put all kinds of stuff in my caddy cams, and way more than just garbage. That little one there is called the Caddy Can Junior, and it holds, I think, a case of crushed water bottles. You get a case of them and crush them down. The big one will hold like a case and a half.
The cool thing about the caddy cans, Dave, is they come in camo. They come in camo in the small size.
Right.
They come in black. They come in blue, whatever your favorite color is.
Yep, you don't need any tools to put them on your boat. They have Velcro straps on them that are adjustable and really high strength, and they got really nice Delvin rings on them so that you can strap them down to your whatever. You know, you can put them on your T-tops or to any bench seating or whatever. The liner comes out, obviously, so it's really easy to wash and to take off. You can just, you don't have to take the whole caddy can off. You can just take your liner out and take it and dump it.
Yep, dump it.
Yeah, and wash it out.
And then rinse it out.
Right, and plus, like you see right there, they collapse down if you want to store them. Into any little hole.
We smash it down, and the one that we don't have the cast net in, and then we turn it sideways and put it in the hatch like this, and then put a tackle box up against it and
smashes them down.
It's awesome.
Caddy cans are awesome.
Awesome.
Like I said, you can put anything in them. You don't even really need to worry about garbage.
What else you got?
Trade winds from Soft Science. These are a really cool slip-on shoe with elastic laces on them. I like to wear them when I'm flying and stuff because you can put them on and off easy going through security and whatnot. They fit like a sock. The top of them is a woven material so that it really sticks down to your foot real good when you tighten your laces up with the little button there. Yep. And they got a nice silicone in the back so your heel doesn't slip up and down in them. A lot of those type of shoes, you know, they don't tighten up really good, but they have a nice silicone heel in there. They got the Trilon undersole and the outside, so they're non-slip. They won't mark. You're not going to fall on your butt. They're great shoes.
Don't mark up your boat.
They dry real easily. The guys really love, you know, the guys who work in kitchens and stuff even actually use these because you're standing on your feet all day. They really make your feet feel nice. Big, nice insoles.
The other day, and I thought it would really be cool for everybody to have one of these in there because of how cool they are for their feet.
I gotcha. Yeah. That's awesome.
What do you think?
Yeah. All right. We got some live targets here. These are the injected core technology. I think that one's there is the twitching minnow. Yeah. You see, you rig that little sucker sideways. I used that thing today, as a matter of fact, and got a couple bites. I didn't hook them. But they also come with a slow roll shiner that has a paddle tail on it. These things are, you know, have that realism and the good function to them. You know, really strong material. That twitch minnow and the slow roller shiner are really, really nice. And I think you come in 6 colors, and you can jerk them. You can put them on however you want to rig them. But they'll do just about anything. This is the toy you brought back from Texas after going out there deep dropping in the daytime for swordfish. And this is the check-in bottom deep drop rod for swordfish and whatever you want, groupers, tilefish. It's got a Winthrop Terminator butt, and you know that
you can have a straight butt
or bent butt, which is great for either trolling or when you're wanting to go from trolling to putting a rod into a belt or something. They got Fuji silicone guides, the Winthrop roller tip, which, you know, is a high dollar item right there. CalStar blank, really cool. This is a Winthrop stuff too. It's like a fake cork, an artificial cork, but it's a rubber material. Really nice handle. The rod is 6 foot 10 inches long. Which, you know,
when we were out there, Dave, it was so hot and so still. My hands were nice and sweaty, and what I liked about this cork is it didn't get slippery at all.
I got you. That's good. It's a good rod.
All right, man. We'll have to get this next week.
Steel shad.
All right, Brie.
Well, we became a lot closer this show, I have to say that.
How come?
Everyone here on set. You know, not going to repeat it. Our friends at Costa are also helping out with relief efforts in the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian by working with IGFA and the Worldwide Anglers Relief Fund to create the One Coast t-shirt and performance shirt. All proceeds from the sale of the shirts will be dispersed through WARF and Red Cross and available on Costa's website starting Saturday. Please join us as we seek to rebuild, restore, and repair these areas we call home. Okay, the Bell's Central East region is sure fit for a king, so let's check in with Captain Jim Ross, the king himself. What's the lay of the land looking like, Cap?
Well, it's looking pretty good once this Humberto blows by because we're going to get into our king mackerel fishing. And in the Bell's Central East region, we have tons of places that anglers can go fish for king mackerel because we've got really good structure in the king mackerel's preferred depths of 70 to 90 feet of water. Now, one of the things that you want to do is get out there and look at the conditions. Conditions are going to be key to catching fish because we've had such a rough, start to this September with these hurricanes going by. But king mackerel make pretty easy targets, and they'll hit a variety of things like live and frozen baits. Large spoons or sea witch bait strip combos pulled behind a planer are a super easy way to find them and eliminate unproductive water. Another great way, maybe even easier, is to pull lip diving plugs like the Rapala CD series or the X-Rap Magnums or the Husky Jerks over one of those reefs or wrecks that's in that 70 to 90 foot depth. Of course, you can always pull ballyhoo, you can always pull minnows, and one of our favorite things to do throughout the year is to pull live bait on a twin stinger rig with 2 number 4 extra strong treble hooks. You can also go up to 2 extra strong treble hooks if the water's dirty, like it's probably going to be for the next couple of weeks. I like those Coastal Black VMC 9626s. They seem to work pretty good. And when you're pulling greenies or whatever, your average king mackerel is going to be about 15 pounds. And, we get plenty of fish to 30 pounds in the Bell Central region. And I've got a picture here of a nice fish that we had just before the he's kind of kicked in. And we were fishing in about 60, 65 feet of water just inside of the 70-foot mark. And we got a real go. Actually, we had a couple of nice ones that day. Now, my other species, because the water's dirty, we're going to find a lot of sharks. And there's going to be a variety of them. And this region just seems to have a lot of sharks in it all the time. The surf's rough. Hurricane Roberto is going by us right now. And the running down the beach out there, and you can see the sharks actually crashing mullet in the surf. So we've got fine tooth, black tips, spinners. Those are going to be your most common. Live or a chunk bait, and you want to put a piece of heavy wire leader out in front of them. If you're a land-based angler, this is one of the fish that you can catch, and is a real trophy to catch from the beach. Free from the FWC if they go to their website. And most of our sharks right now about 20 to 80 pounds. Now swinging inshore, Rick, one of your favorites?
All right, as you guys could tell, sometimes we run into audio trouble, so we're going to go ahead and take over for Jim. He says inshore. Also, we're going to talk about redfish this week. He's saying slot-sized redfish are cruising tight to many of the shorelines in the Indian and Mosquito Lagoon right now. They've been feeding on fingerling mullet and glass minnows that are holding there. Look along the shorelines for the areas where the reds are busting these bait fish. Then move in quietly, cast parallel to the shorelines if possible. Try a saltwater 4-inch sea shad and silver mullet or pimp daddy colors have been the two most productive. And the other thing that you want to do is the larger reds are roaming the deeper flats and will hit chunks of bait or live mullet on most days. The average slot-sized redfish is running 3 to 5 pounds at times. And then snook is his last species. Snook action remains the best in the black water creeks of New Smyrna. At most of the inlets this week, the black water snook are averaging 2 to 8 pounds. And these fish are striking live finger mullet or shrimp that are free line near the mangroves, docks, and oyster bars. The larger fish are targeting live croakers, medium-sized mullet fish near any of the inlets and jetties, and these fish will also hit flare hawk jigs, Rapala X-Rap lures on most nights. The inlets snook are generally running up to 20 pounds right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. He says offshore, king mackerel on the lipped plugs and spoons troll areas holding bait schools in 90 to 150 feet of water, and mangrove snappers inshore near the docks and bridges in New Smyrna use live shrimp or finger mullet on jigs, jig heads, and sliding sinker rigs.
Double duty tonight. Here we go.
Man, that's all right.
All right, the Garmin Keys region and the Yeti Panhandle region are up next. But before we go, we want to remind you, if you missed any of today's show or want to rewatch any segments, we upload them to our YouTube channel every Thursday, as well as posting new content every week. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check us out on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala, another great day. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Oh, there it is.
You can either stay busy fishing or get
busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Find Florida's soul and discover Crystal River. Explore warm Gulf waters, spring-fed rivers, bountiful lakes, and fantastic fishing. Dive into adventure and enjoy the only place in the world where you can swim with the manatees. Treat yourself and your family to outdoor fun, rich history, and a relaxed coastal lifestyle. Discover Crystal River, Florida.
Welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Rick, we've been talking about the Harbor Trucks Casa Vieja fishing trip with you and I since the very beginning of the season, and the contest is now closed. We will be announcing the winner next week, so make sure to tune in to see who the lucky anglers are. But if you registered and happen not to win, don't worry, because there's special pricing available for 8 spots left, right, Rick?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So go to sportsmanadventures.com or send an email to mail@sportsmanadventures.com.
Yeah, that's a trip we got going with the CCA guys in October, so check it out, guys.
Will be fun. All right, if you're fishing in the Garmin Keys region, you have a lot to look forward to this weekend. So without further ado, I bring you Captain Randy Tao.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Garmin Keys region this time of year, it's not necessarily the prime time to catch kingfish and mackerel, but we do have some kingfish right now. And this time of year, we find them on the edge of the reef eating yellowtails. You know, a lot of spots right now, there's plenty of yellowtails. And you'll hook a nice fish and you'll lose it, and you'll think, well, maybe it was a shark, or maybe a big yellowtail went through the leader. But sometimes they're kingfish, and you can target them if you've got the bait. It's kind of hard to get the bait this time of year because there's not a lot of it. But finger mullet and cigar minnows, speedos, those are good baits right now that you could feed to a kingfish. You could also try a yellowtail, but I hate using dinner to do that. And some of these fish are on the big side. You might catch a 30 or 40-pound kingfish right now, but normally our kingfishing is in the wintertime. Like the late fall, winter, and the early spring is kind of primarily when you would target kingfish all throughout the Keys, and especially Key West. They've got probably some of the best kingfishing in the world down off of Key West, both out in the Gulf and also in the Atlantic. But sticking a little closer to home, as the reefs right now are producing some real nice yellowtails and kingfish, guys that are catching, if that's what you want to do. I've got a photo from Captain Travis Dickens on his boat, the Indigenous, at a Bud and Mary's with a 43.5-pounder they caught yellowtailing.
Wow, that's a nice fish. All right, what else you got for me tonight, bub, offshore?
The mutton snapper bite. You know, we're gearing more toward the reef right now. This time of year, we're getting into the fall. A lot of your tunas and your dolphin, and a lot of fish are a little closer, and we'll start seeing some sailfish too. But the mutton snappers, again, they're on the edge of the reef, and they're also out in that deeper water on some of those wrecks in 120 to about 200 feet. And there's several ways you can go about them, but I like using braided line where I can get to the bottom and feel the bite. But some of these guys that like to stick on the reef, you know, when the yellowtailing slows down, put a bigger bait like a ballyhoo or a cigar minnow if you have it, and drop it down, and oftentimes there's mutton snappers in your slick. You got to remember, you've been chumming for hours, so you can't really see what all is down there. And a really nice bonus this time of year is to float a bait back with no lead on it, a whole ballyhoo, and you might come up with a big mutton snapper, just like this photo of Jeff Robeson from North Carolina with his big mutton snapper.
That's nice. All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Trout fishing has been very good. We've had a really good trout bite, actually, this whole year. But right now, some of these trout have been on the big side. I mean, 26, 28, 30-inch trout we're catching in the backcountry, along with a lot of 18 to 19-inch fish, but quite a few of them. And it doesn't really matter if it's an incoming tide, a outgoing tide, a high tide, a low tide. You just kind of put your time in, and they're biting fairly well. Now, a popping cork with a soft plastic under it, or a small pilchard, or even a piece of pinfish. You can take a pinfish and just cut up a piece of it. Has been working good, and guys are getting into some real nice trout. Captain Dale Perez. He's a local guide here out of Islamorada, fishes out of the Lorelei. And we don't have a lot of people fishing right now, but he's one that's been going quite a bit. And his day's been consisting of trout fishing, and he's had some really nice trout, and he's been catching some big ones. And I've got a picture of his lady angler, Jill, with her trout.
Nice. What else? One more to go.
Bonefish, the slimy bonefish. You know how I like those things, Rick, but I got to talk nice about them. We don't do Christmas anymore, but still, they're a very, very popular fish throughout the Keys. From Key Largo to Key West, you know, guys love putting themselves through enormous stress and aggravation to catch these things. I don't get it, but nonetheless, it's exciting, it's fun, and this is the time of year where guys do a lot of bone fishing. Now, the incoming tide, you know, anytime you have a low part of the tide going to a higher part is going to be good, whether it's on the bay side, the ocean side. And, you know, the bonefish like moving water. They move when the tide moves. And a live shrimp, a small crab is going to work good for you. And you got to have some patience. You got to have some eyes. If you're sight fishing, you really want to be able to tell the difference. Just in a little bit of off-colored water might mean a school of bonefish mudding. And if the tide's a little bit low, sometimes they tail, and they'll stick their tail out of the water to let you know where they are. I've got a photo from Captain Mike Alfano. He's a local guide here in town, and he's a fishing nut. He loves bone fishing for some crazy reason. And I've got this picture of his bonefish he caught recently, which is a pretty big bonefish considering most of them are small. This one's a pretty nice one. And I got to mention, the Marathon Bonefish Tournament just happened. Captain Timmy Carlisle won it for, I think, the 22nd time, and he caught 55 bonefish in 3 days.
What?
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. That's what I should be doing. I should be going down there and doing a sportsman's adventure instead of canceling with Chris Strauss.
Oh.
I can't be every place. I'm having a fit.
We can't.
All right, Randy, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys. Randy says inshore. Oh, imagine that. Bonefish.
It's his favorite.
Fish early in the morning for tailing fish, and then look for them in the deeper water during the middle of the day. And then offshore, yellowtails go early to beat the heat. Anchor in 70 to 90 feet of water and start chumming. And don't forget to be patient.
He's really passionate about not liking bonefish. That was very silver, right? All right. There's some tournaments coming up in the Florida Keys, so let's take a look at some details. All right, the Key Largo Rotary's Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge is set for September 27th through the 29th and focuses on catch and release fishing for snook, redfish, and trout. The Islamorada All-Tackle Bonefish and Permit Championship is set for October 13th through the 16th. One angler per boat pairs with a licensed captain to vie for trophies. The Ladies Let's Go Fishing Seminar is scheduled for October 18th to the 20th and is billed as the No Yellin' School of Fishing for female anglers. The Fall Backcountry Fly Championship Series is set for October 25th through the 30th and focuses on catch and release of snook and redfish on fly. The field is limited to 30 boats. Additional information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys is available at flakeys.com. Okay, let's see what Captain Pat Deneen in the Yeti Panhandle region has to say about your weekend fishing forecast. Talk to us,
Brie,
Pat.
first off, I want to say I like bone fishing.
Do you?
But in the Panhandle, we really don't have bone fishing, but we do catch a lot of king and Spanish mackerel spring through fall. And the Spanish show up first, and sometimes they're as early as late February, and they're in schools along the beaches traveling east to west. And as those schools travel down the beaches, they're swept into the passes and bays during the incoming tides. And plenty of them are caught on Christmas tree rigs, straw rigs, and diamond jigs, both along the beaches and within the bays, particularly closer to the passes. And then late summer and early fall, basically right now, the biggest Spanish of the season are caught in all the bays in the Panhandle by either chumming with pilchards and free lining with baits or casting topwater chuggers over the deep grass flats. And I'm talking some nice Spanish mackerels up to 5 and 5.5 pounds. The king show up when the bait shows up, which is usually May. The kingfish remains good into the fall with some of the best fishing occurring along the edges in 180 to 200 feet of water, and especially once that water temperature starts to drop, as September turns into October. And live bait is preferred. Live herrings, cigar minnows, blue runners, bluefish are all great baits for kingfish. And plenty are also caught old school by trolling large spoons or diving lip plugs like the Rapala 20 or 30. You check the Destin Fishing Rodeo leaderboard in October. you're going to see that some of the biggest kings of the year are caught during that time. Fish up to 40 or 50 pounds. So probably some of the best kingfish and mackerel fishing of the year is beginning right about now. Also offshore, the vermilion snapper fishing remains extremely consistent. Many of the head boats are running with light passenger loads. Pretty much the busy summer season's over, so the boats are still running, but they're not full. And it's a really good time for locals, especially locals without a boat, to get out on the water at a reasonable rate and come home with a mess of good eating fish. The mingoes are biting on cut bait over natural and artificial bottom, especially areas at 130 to 200 feet of water. You want to use a 2-hook chicken rig, a small circle hook baited with cut squid or minnows, and drop that rig to the bottom, crank it up 15 to 20 feet, and be ready for the bite. The mingoes are running 1 to 2 pounds, but if you get on the right spot, you can catch them to 3+ pounds. And I've always kind of compared our mingoes or vermilion snappers to the Keys yellowtail snappers. They're really good eating.
All right,
and then, Rick, let's move inshore. The redfishes right now, redfishing in the bays is on fire for all sizes of redfish. The flats, the residential docks, the marinas have plenty of undersized and slot fish that are catchable with either live bait or lures. To live bait them, cast your cracker net on the schools of pilchards. There's plenty of them near the inlets right now. And then fish them around the docks on a Carolina rig. You can also expect to pick up a few mango snappers doing this. The lure fishermen should hit the flats. Target spotty bottoms and potholes, casting gold spoons or bass assassin twitch-style baits, rigged with a worm hook to keep them weedless. For the big boys, go to the passes and the big deep-water bridges like the Mid-Bay or the 3-Mile Bridge. Captain Lynn over in Lemon Out Charters in Pensacola, he's been getting some really big bulls and plenty of them by lure fishing the Pensacola Bridge. But around the inlet, it's not really a lure fishery. It's a live bait fishery, so the falling tide's best, croakers on the bottom being the best bait. And then finally, inshore, I mentioned black snapper or mango snappers while reporting on the redfish. And right now, there's some good catches of mango snappers coming for those targeting them. Use those same pilchers that you would use around those docks for the smaller redfish, or pick up some live shrimp if you can find them. Chum with injured pilchers around the bridge pilings. Use a Carolina rig. You want to lighten up your leader to 10 to 15 pounds and use the smallest wire circle hook and the lightest lead you can get by with. The bay mangroves are running probably 10 to 16 inches.
All right, thank you so much, Pat Tar. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Pat says inshore, big redfish at the bay bridges and in the inlets on live baits, live croakers, pinfish, and blue crabs on the outgoing tide seems to work best. And then offshore, fish the deep wrecks with blue runners for big amberjacks and lots of action. You might want to try a vertical metal jig.
Big blue runners for big AJs.
Big baits mean big fish.
Big fish. Okay, the CCA Sarasota Banquet and Auction is coming up on September 27th, and Rick will be in attendance. So make sure you head to ccaflorida.org/Sarasota to get registered and buy your tickets for a conservation night to remember, complete with dinner, live and silent auctions, raffles, and of course having fun with good old Captain Rick Murphy.
Well, I'm glad you told me where I was going to be. 27th.
Well, you're welcome.
I was hoping I was going dove hunting somewhere.
Nope, not no more. You're done. All right, we're wrapping it up here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report with our final Discover Crystal River Northwest region. So make sure you stay hooked, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the world. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. And Bells. Everything you need to live life local.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Life out here tastes sweeter with the freedom to roam at 40 miles per hour. The power to haul whatever needs hauling, and best-in-class acceleration and handling with cargo. The Kubota Sidekick is purpose-built for speed, fun, and to get the job done right. Now, get the Kubota Sidekick for $0 down and payments as low as $196 a month.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Today's power pole tip of the week is becoming more stealth with your poles. Now guys, think about this. We have 3 speeds on our power poles, and the one thing that we need to understand is that we can manipulate those speeds. We can go fast, medium, or stealth mode. Now whenever I'm making a move from an oyster bar over to a point, and I know I'm only gonna pick up the poles a few inches at a time, I simply click it into the stealth mode so that I can keep the noise level down to a very, very quiet approach. Now, you guys that love to bass fish and you're fishing fish that are on beds, that approach is the same thing. Make sure that you go into the stealth mode so that you can sneak up on those beds, put your poles down, and the bass doesn't know you're there. Keep in mind that by simply manipulating the speeds through your multifunction switch or through the app using the key fob, this will make a great approach, and that's today's power pole tip of the week.
Sounds good, Rick.
You like it?
So, yes.
Yeah.
All right, if you're in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region and kingfish, mangroves, and redfish sound like a good idea because they're always a good idea, then listen up to Captain Jeff Hageman. Close us out, right, Hag?
Thank you much. Kingfish, we've got them throughout my entire region. That can be found from inside Tampa Bay and the shipping channel to right off the beaches and right off the shoreline, out to 100 feet of water, depending on the water temperature. Water temperature is a big thing with kingfish and the bait. They're going to follow the bait, and they're going to follow that magic water temp. That magic water temp is 68 to 75 degrees. When you've got that, and my region's so big, when you've got that in our region, that's where the kingfish are going to be. They're going to be in that temperature change. We have a spring and a fall run. You can find them on artificial reefs, wrecks, hard bottom. That bait's going to hold the fish. So red fins, blue runners are favorite live baits for slow trolling. Magnum Rapalas, stretch 30s, and king spoons are great for that fast trolling we do on our coast. They're both really effective ways to catch them. Another great way to do is anchor up above your structure, whether it be hard bottom or an artificial reef or wreck. Start chumming with live and chunk bait. Put out a chum bag, get some smell in the water there, really come to smell real good. So a lot of chum helps a bunch. Our fish range anywhere from 12 to 50 pounds, and we got some bigger fish in the region too. As far as rigs go, medium heavy spinning gear or conventional with 20-pound braids, great. High gear ratio is a must because they make long runs and they can run right back into the boat just as fast as they pull it out. So a high gear ratio reel is really good to have. As far as rigs go, number 4 haywire to a number 7 will do on the live baits, and that'll help you from getting cut off. And a little trick with kingfish, a lot of people start off with too heavy a drag, and they'll rip that bait right out of their mouth, especially if they're trolling. Back your drag down a little bit, make that first run, and then bump it up a little bit, and you'll catch a lot more fish. Staying offshore, the mangrove snapper bite's been really good on artificial reefs and wrecks, anywhere from that 25 to 60 feet of water throughout the region. Look for fish being fired up right now because of this moon we just had. A little chum in the water will make fish a little less finicky and get you more bites. There's some cleaner water once you get out to the deeper water right now. So anywhere from 15 to 25 pound fluorocarbon leader will help you get more bites. And if you're having trouble getting bites, even bumping down your fluorocarbon leader, downsize your hooks, leaders, and leads, and that'll help you get more bites too. As far as baits go, live tail hook shrimp or a small pinfish on a knocker rig is the bait of choice right now. And moving on inshore, Captain John Lane with JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports the redfish bite's been on fire right now in the grass flats. These guys are hungry right now and ready to feed on live pogies and shrimp, as well as artificial jigs. He's using a red and white and his artificial. Most of the fish right now are beginning of the outgoing tides and incoming tides, and mainly on the deep water marsh edges and points in his area. Moving down the coast a little bit, Captain Jimbo Keith with Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters out of Cedar Key reports the inshore bite's been really good right now, and as hot as the weather is, the fish seems to be just hot. The incoming tide has been producing some great fish, redfish around the islands right now. He's even using cut mullet on the bottom, either free-lined or just a 3-ounce egg sinker, and he's using a knocker rig too. And I've got a couple great photos from Captain John and Captain Jimbo. Nice redfish there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Love it.
Good stuff.
All right, one more species to go, big man.
Captain Mario Costello, Tall Charters out of Plantation Inn on Crystal River, reports a great snook bite right now. He's fishing around the mangrove shorelines from Crystal River to Homosassa using a free line pinfish or a live shrimp on a 4-aught circle hook. And he's mostly fishing on the incoming tide right now, and the snook right now in his area are ranging anywhere from 25 to 32 inches. And I've got a picture here of Dallas Watson with a nice snook caught with Mario on a recent trip.
Hey, Hag, I know that you love to go deer hunting. Do you like to go dove hunting?
I do. We actually do some dove hunting up in Alabama.
Okay.
I heard you just wrecked them.
All right, well, I got a new place for us to go, so you might want to save your piggies. Because that Bolivia was as good as it gets, man.
Your head is still in the clouds, literally.
Man, it was just, you can't believe it until you see it. And then when you see it, you can't believe what you see it. You know what they say, see it and believe it.
Trip.
All right, so I'm going to see you later.
That's a definite for me.
All right, man. All right, I'll talk to you later. It's time for the Anytime Sunscreen and Mosquito Repellent Hotspots from the Northwest region, inshore. Redfish on the top of the tide in the beginning of the outgoing using live and cut bait. And then offshore, grouper bite in 90 to 220 feet of water over the rock piles, ledges. Use live pinfish, pigfish, or for bait. You know, Brie,
yes,
I know that you're going hunting pretty soon here. We're going to go up to the Bass Assassin little place that they got, and we're going to go deer.
Little camp.
Yeah, go do a little deer hunting. What do you think?
I'm so excited. It'll be my first time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm not going to say much because you never want to jinx it.
No.
Hopefully I get one. Knock on the wood. All right, the reports have been served and your weekend of catching awaits, but we're not done with you yet, so stay tuned to find out what your future holds for next week right here on the Florida
Insider
Fishing
Report.
Wow.
Yay! We got it.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper to bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
For the bass that thinks it's a bulldog. For the walleye that thinks it's a freight train. For the tuna that thinks it's a torpedo. For the tarpon that thinks it's a tarpon. You need the mono that thinks it's a braid. Suffix Advance. New Advanced Mono with HMPE braid molecules for strength, abrasion resistance, and low stretch. Suffix Advance. The mono that thinks it's a braid.
Do things. Be sane. Don't fritter away your time. Create. Act. Take a place wherever you are. And be somebody.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking about pompano.
I'm not.
Surf casting.
I'm not talking about pompano.
What do you mean you're not?
You start researching now.
pompanos where I live.
That's because
But
you
you
live
still
in
know how to do
Orlando.
it.
I know they don't have pompanos there.
You know what? Randy actually brought up a good point. He dislikes bonefish very much. What is a fish that you absolutely disliked? Like him. Hurry up.
I don't know. Give me a
know.
second. Ask.
Mine's
Dave.
redfish. I'm just kidding.
Redfish.
I'm just kidding. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, make sure to click the subscribe button below.